Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of eons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra, the universal door of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, chapter 25. At that time, Bodhisattva, infinite resolve, rose from his seat, bared his right shoulder, placed his palms together, faced the Buddha, and said, World Honor One, for what reason is Guan Yin Bodhisattva called Bodhisattva who contemplates the world sounds? The Buddha answered, Bodhisattva, infinite resolve, good men, if countless billions of kotis of living beings, tormented by misery and pain, hear of Guan Yin Bodhisattva and single-mindedly call out her name, Guan Yin Bodhisattva will immediately respond to their cries and set them free. If living beings upholding the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva fall into a great fire, the fire will not burn them, all because of this Bodhisattva's splendid spiritual powers. If living beings carried away by deep waters call out her name for help, they will be delivered to shallow water. Suppose billions of kotis of living beings take to the sea in search of treasures such as gold, silver, viduria, giant clamshell, carnelian coral, amber and pearls, and they run afoul of violent squalls that blow their boat off course and set it adrift in the hands of the Rakshasas. If among them there is even one person who calls out the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, they will all escape the dangers of the Rakshasas. For this reason she is called Bodhisattva who contemplates the world sounds. Or if there is someone who is about to be harmed in some way, and that person calls out the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, the knives and clubs of the assailants will simply break into pieces, and the person will escape the danger. If the trichiliocosm is teeming with yakshas and rakshasas bent on causing people harm, but these malevolent ghosts hear people calling out the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, they will not even be able to glare at those people, much less harm them. If a person, whether guilty or innocent, who has been bound in stocks or shackled in chains, calls the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, the fetters will snap and fall away, and the person will immediately be freed. Suppose that the trichiliocosm is teeming with vicious bandits, and the caravan leader is guiding his caravan laden with precious goods over a dangerous road. Suppose one man among the caravan says, Good men, do not be afraid. With all your hearts invoke the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva. This Bodhisattva can bestow fearlessness upon living beings. If we beseech this Bodhisattva, we shall surely escape these vicious bandits. Upon hearing this exhortation, if all the merchants cry out in unison, Homage to Bodhisattva who contemplates the world sounds, they will be free from danger because of their invocation. Infinite resolve, how magnificent are the splendid spiritual powers of Guan Yin Bodhisattva Mahasattva. If beings overwhelmed with sexual desire constantly and reverently hold Guan Yin Bodhisattva in their hearts, their passion will subside. If beings beset by much anger constantly and reverently hold Guan Yin Bodhisattva in their hearts, they will rid themselves of anger. If dull and foolish beings constantly and reverently hold Guan Yin Bodhisattva in their hearts, they will leave ignorance behind. If they resolve, Guan Yin Bodhisattva vastly benefits living beings with her sublime spiritual powers. Therefore, living beings should always hold her in their hearts. If women seeking sons bow and make offerings to Guan Yin Bodhisattva, they will give birth to sons blessed with virtue and wisdom. Or if they wish for daughters, they will bear upright, beautiful daughters who have planted roots of virtue in previous lives and are loved and honored by all. If they resolve, such is the power of Guan Yin Bodhisattva. If living beings pay respect or bow to Guan Yin Bodhisattva, their efforts will certainly result in blessings. Therefore, every living being should uphold the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva. If they resolve, suppose someone were to uphold the names of bodhisattvas as many as the grains of sand in 62 kotis of the Ganges rivers, and in addition worked throughout his life to make offerings of food, drink, clothing, bedding, and medicine into all of them. What do you think? Would the merit of the good man or woman be great or not? Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve replied, very great indeed, world donor one. The Buddha said, yet if someone else were to uphold the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, bow and make offerings for even a single moment, the blessings of these two people will be exactly the same, and would last for billions of kotis of eons. Infinite resolve, upholding the name of Guan Yin Bodhisattva brings such limitless and boundless merit. Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve addressed the Buddha, saying, world donor one, how does Guan Yin Bodhisattva roam throughout this Saha world? How does she teach the Dharma to living beings? What kinds of skillful means does she use? The Buddha said to Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve, good men to living beings in the world who can be saved by a Buddha. Guan Yin Bodhisattva appears as a Buddha and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a practical Buddha, she appears as a practical Buddha and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a Shravaka, she appears as a Shravaka and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a Brahma, she appears as a Brahma and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by Shakra, she appears as Shakra and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by the God Sovereign East, she appears as the God Sovereign East and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by the God Great Sovereign East, she appears as the God Sovereign Great Sovereign East and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a mighty heavenly general, she appears as a mighty heavenly general and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by Vaishravana, she appears as Vaishravana and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a minor king, she appears as a minor king and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by an elder, she appears as an elder and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a layman, she appears as a layman and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a state official, she appears as a state official and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a Brahmana, she appears as a Brahmana and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a bhikshu, bhikshuni, upasaka or upasika, she appears as a bhikshu, bhikshuni, upasaka and upasika and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a female elder, a laywoman, a female state minister or a brahmani, she appears as that kind of woman and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a young boy or a young girl, she appears as a young boy or a young girl and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a god, dragon, yaksha, Gandharva, Asura, Garuda, Kimnara, Mahoraga, human, non-human, and the like, she appears accordingly and teaches them the Dharma. To those who can be saved by a Vajra-wielding god, she appears as a Vajra-wielding god and teaches them the Dharma. Infinite resolve, such are the meritorious deeds Guan Yin Bodhisattva has perfected, appearing in all kinds of forms. She roams throughout the world to save and liberate living beings. Therefore, you should all wholeheartedly make offerings to Guan Yin Bodhisattva. In times of terror, crisis, and hardship, this Bodhisattva Mahasattva Guan Yin can bestow fearlessness. For this reason, throughout the Saha world, we call her the one who bestows fearlessness. Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve addressed the Buddha, saying, World Honor One, I shall now make an offering to Guan Yin Bodhisattva. He then unfastened him from around his neck.
Darkness of precious pearl, worth hundreds of thousands of ounces of gold, and presented it to the Bodhisattva with these words, O Humane One, please accept this offering of Dharma,
a necklace of precious pearls, but Guan Yin Bodhisattva refused to accept it. Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve then said to Guan Yin Bodhisattva, Humane One, out of compassion for all of us, please accept this necklace. The Buddha then said to Guan Yin Bodhisattva, you should have compassion for Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve and the Fourfold Assembly, as well as the gods, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, maharagas, humans, non-humans, and others, and accept this necklace. Then, out of compassion for the Fourfold Assembly, as well as the gods, dragons, humans, non-humans, and others, Guan Yin Bodhisattva accepted the necklace. She divided it into two parts. One strand she offered to Shakyamuni Buddha, and the other to the stupa of Buddha Many Treasures. Infinite Resolve. With such effortless spiritual powers, Guan Yin Bodhisattva travels about the Sangha world. At that time, Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve asked his questions once again in verse. O Donor One, whose wondrous hallmarks are complete, I would now inquire about her again. How did this disciple of the Buddha come to be called Guan Yin? The Honor One repeated with wondrous hallmarks, answered Infinite Resolve in verse. Hear now of the deeds of Guan Yin. Listen to how deftly she responds to every plea. With a vast resolve as deep as an ocean, she has passed through eons too many to imagine. Having served hundreds of billions of Buddhas, she has made great vows pure and clear. Let me speak of them to you in brief. Hearing her name or seeing her body and keeping her constantly in mind, one can put an end to the sorrows of existence. Suppose a person wanting to cause you harm pushes you into a blazing pit of fire. Invoke the powers of Guan Yin. That fiery pit will turn into a pool. If you are cast adrift upon an immense ocean and subject to the perils of dragons, fish, and ghosts, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. Amid the waves and breakers, you will not drown. If you are on the peak of Mount Sumeru and someone pushes you headlong off the edge, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. Like the sun itself, you will remain suspended in mid-air. Suppose you are pursued by evildoers and tumble down the Vajra mountains. Invoke the powers of Guan Yin. They will be unable to harm so much as a single hair. If you are surrounded by a horde of vicious enemies, each wielding a sword and threatening violence, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. Their hearts will immediately turn kind. Suppose you are sentenced by the state, condemned to death and on the verge of execution, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. The executioner's sword will instantly shatter into pieces. If you are imprisoned, bound in chains, with hands and feet confined in shackles, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. These bonds will break apart and set you free. Perhaps someone plots to do you bodily harm with hexes, curses, or poisons. Invoke the powers of Guan Yin. They will all be cast right back at the person. Suppose you encounter evil rakshasas, venomous dragons, or legions of ghosts. Invoke the powers of Guan Yin. None will dare to harm you in the least. If you are encircled by vicious beasts, their sharp fangs and claws causing fear, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. The beasts will quickly scatter in all directions. If you face venomous snakes, lizards, and scorpions, spitting poisons and scorching flames, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. They will turn and flee at the sound of her name. When lightning crackles and thunderclouds explode, pelting hail and monsoon rains, invoke the powers of Guan Yin. The hail and rain will immediately disperse. Living beings are trapped and troubled, oppressed by hardships without measure. The powers of Guan Yin's wondrous wisdom can help relieve the world's suffering. endowed with complete spiritual powers, and widely versed in knowledge and skillful means in all lands throughout the 10 directions. There is one Kshetra where she does not appear. The agonies in the various lower realms, the hells, ghosts, and animals, and the pains of birth, aging, sickness, and death, the Bodhisattva gradually dispels them all. She who contemplates truly and purely, who contemplates with wisdom vast and great, who contemplates with kindness and compassion, we vow to ever admire and venerate, with pure, clear radiance free of defilement. This wisdom sun dispels the darkness, quelling disasters, storms, and fires. This universal light shines throughout all worlds, with the body of compassion, morality's thunder. Her wondrous cloud of kindness covers all. The sweet dew Dharma rains fall, extinguishing the flames of affliction in criminal trials and civil suits, or when fear runs high as warring armies near. Invoke the power of Guan Yin. All vengeance and enmity disappear. Wondrous sound, Guan Yin, a pure sound, the sound of ocean tides, a sound transcending every worldly sound. We shall keep it forever in our minds. From thought to thought, do not let any doubts arise. Guan Yin, thy pure and holy sage, in times of suffering, agony, danger, and death, will be there as our refuge and protector. Replete with all merit and virtue, her kindly eyes behold all living beings. She is the boundless sea of every blessing. Let us bow and offer our respect. Then Bodhisattva, guardian of the earth, rose from his seat, went before the Buddha and said, Hold on, no one, if there are those who hear this chapter concerning Guan Yin Bodhisattva, which describes her masterful deeds and how she universally responds with her spiritual powers, we shall know that the merit of such people will not be small. When the Buddha taught the Universal Door chapter, 84,000 living beings in the assembly all brought forth the unparalleled resolve for Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. End of Universal Door of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, chapter 25 of the Wonderful Dharma Lotus Sutra. Namo Sammanto Motona Apalati Hatocha Janami Nachimi Chimi Danta Katana Mowa Shantin Bolati Utamota Motanta Katana Mowa Hong Pansaha Namo Sammanto Motona Apalati Hatocha Janami Chimi Danta Katana Mowa Shantin Bolati Utamota Motanta Katana Mowa Wahong Pansaha Namo Samanta Motana Apalati Hatacha Janami Nanchimi Chimi Danta Katana Mowa Shanti Palati Utamota Motanta Katana Mowa Hong Pansaha. We will do the 12 great vows. Homage to the Daskama Guan Yin, whose name is perfect penetration and self-mastery, and vowing to extensively make great results. Bow. Homage to the Daskama Guan Yin, whose single thought is unobstructed, and vowing to constantly dwell in Southern Sea. Homage to the Daskama Guan Yin, who resides in Saha world and the hells, and vowing to follow the sun and rescue those who are in suffering. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who subdues the deviant demons and dispels dreadful monsters, and vowing to dissolve all crises and difficulties. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who holds a vase of pure water and a weeping willow branch, vowing to sprinkle sweet dew in the minds of living beings. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who has great compassion and can joyfully give, vowing to constantly practice equanimity. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who roams day and night so that there is no damage and decay, vowing to resolutely to do away with the three evil paths. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who vigorously bows in homage to the southern cave, vowing to cast off all shackles and fetters. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who builds dharma ships and sails the sea of suffering, vowing to rescue all living beings. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who is adorned with banners in front and jeweled canopies in the back, vowing to lead beings to the western land. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, who has attained the state of the Buddha of limitless life, vowing to receive a prediction from Amitabha Buddha. Homage to the thus come Guan Yin, whose well-formed body is incomparable, vowing to truly cultivate these 12 resolves. We will do the Guan Yin praise. Bodhisattva Guan Yin is wonderful past gratitude, pure and clear adornments gained through practice ages long. See vast red lotus flower, fragrant rest beneath her foot. Big curve of an autumn moon is in the crescent of her brows. Everywhere and constantly, sweet dew sprinkles from her base. In her hand the willow branch, through the voice she answers, sailing the sea of suffering, crossing people over. Now more greatly kind and compassionate, Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Portola mountain and observes the sounds of the world. Namo greatly kind and compassionate, Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Portola mountain and observes the sounds of the world. Namo greatly kind and compassionate, Bodhisattva of the crystalline, who dwells on Portola mountain and observes the sounds of the world. We will do the dedication of merit. May the merit from this practice adorn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear of this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Namo